I'm wearing sequins because it's time to recap Miss Grand International 2024's preliminary evening gown competition. I'm Dani, thanks for watching the episode. If you'd like to see extended versions of my episodes, then check out channel memberships or subscribe to queenbeauty.tv for access to those exclusive episodes as well as my live pageant commentary. I'm going to share my favorites in no particular order. Cuba, this was fantastic. I love the piece around the arms. I love the fringe. There's just so many good things here. Honestly, I think that she did a fantastic job. She has been so strong throughout this entire performance, and I even mentioned her in my swim recap as well, so be sure to check that one out. So we've been seeing a lot of these gown reveals lately where you come in with one dress and then you take it off and you have something else. And I like how Japan did it. So hers was different because at first she looked like she was just wearing this beautiful white traditional dress, and then she took that off to reveal her gown. And it was just done in a very grand way. And I loved it, very confident, great walk. Mexico's gown really complemented her figure, and I also liked the mixture of colors that also helped to accentuate her body. And then she did a little cape reveal in the middle of the runway. Honestly, I didn't expect it. I did not think she was gonna remove that, but she looked lovely here. I think people are gonna love or hate Bangladesh's gown, but I loved it. I loved the opening pose. I'm obsessed with this. She better move on. I thought she had a great interview as well. I really, really like her. The color is unique. Now, would I like a different gown for finals? Yes. I don't really see this as a crowning gown, but it definitely caught my attention for prelims. So we've been seeing these gown reveals, right? With kind of an opera coat, and usually it's like a simple thing, and then they take it off. Vietnam did an entire quick change on stage and revealed a whole other gown, which was, I don't even know how this happened. She like pulls off the top, she pulls off the bottom, the gown color changes, just everything about it. When she walked out, it looks like she could have wore the gown that we saw for gown, but then she kept going and revealing, and the gown at the end was so spectacular, and she did all of this with ease. That's what stood out to me. It's like, if you're gonna do a reveal, I'm always like, oh, like make sure it's so well practiced so that it doesn't look awkward on stage, and it didn't. She looked beautiful, and she was so confident. I love this. I really hope she's moving on. Brazil had a really unique look for gown, and I actually don't mind this that much at Grand. I'm not a really, really big fan though of like the pants evening gown look. I just don't feel like it's very effective, but I do wish that she would have done the reveal at the end of the runway rather than at the beginning. Don't get me wrong, I love a butterfly dress, and we saw a similar butterfly style done in pink a few years ago at Miss Universe Vietnam for one of the top 10 or so, I believe, maybe even the top 5, and I loved that evening gown, but we've seen it again and again. I did expect to see something a little bit different for Malaysia because she set such a standard for me with her interview dress. I thought that she was going to bring something very different for gown. For Peru, I honestly did not love this color on her. I was like, oh, it just didn't do anything for me. Now, the style of the gown was beautiful. I wish she just would have done this style of gown in a different color. I will say I feel like the presentation was very grand, the way that she walked out and then did a spin turn and released the fringe beading, so that was really fun. I'm still a big fan of her. USA is beautiful. I love this color on her, although I don't feel like the construction of this gown was properly executed. It looks like the inspiration for this gown was, and I don't know if it's the same designer or what, or the situation behind this gown, but it reminded me a lot of the dress that we saw Dominican Republic in 2022 wearing to rehearsals. This dress looked amazing on her, and it kind of went viral online, and everybody was wondering, is she going to be wearing this dress to finals? She didn't. She wore something else, but it reminded me so much of that style of evening gown. Now, gown aside, I really hope that she does change it for finals, but I still liked the color, like I said, and she's stunning, and I think she still had a great performance, and definitely enough to move on. Nicaragua, black this year wasn't a great option because the staging was so dark, but this is a great option on her, and I always appreciate that. Now, she had a really great performance here, and there was a very special moment when she did this over-the-shoulder look. She nailed it. Honestly, I didn't love Nepal's gown, but I liked her performance. So I hope that that's what they're gonna focus on. Panama is beautiful, and she did a little gown reveal, but I do wish that she would have had a different fabric for that train that she wrapped around her. A fabric that either was a little bit weightier or going the opposite direction, a fabric that was going to flow. So I was thinking more of like a silk. Sherry Hill does a lot of gowns. with the fabric that I'm thinking of. I feel like it would have made a really big difference. But regardless of that, the evening gown did look stunning on her, and she was really confident, and I've been loving her throughout this competition. She's been very, very consistent, so I hope she moves on. Czech Republic, I like the style of the gown, but I just cannot get on board for all of the bright colors. Like, maybe do the rainbow, but just like tone down the colors a little bit more. I just felt like it was so distracting on her, or even do like the rainbow but do them in a darker tone even, right? Like that could be really pretty actually, like a black base and then multicolor. That would be beautiful. But it was a lot. I felt like it was taking away from her, but I still like her. Philippines in yellow looked so beautiful. Honestly, I didn't even think about Philippines in yellow. The last time I remember Philippines wearing yellow would have been Miss Universe 2020 when Rabia wore it, and a lot of people had such mixed opinions about that gown. I thought it was really beautiful on her, and in person it looked incredible on stage, but anyways, so this yellow evening gown was so beautiful. The beading across it, I was a big fan of. She did such a great job at what I think is just embodying a grand type of performance. She made it her own, and I definitely see her moving forward. Myanmar styling for gown is very grand, and I wanted something totally different from her because when I first saw the skirt of this gown, I was like, oh no, it's a piece of Catriona's lava gown. But let me tell you, Catriona's lava gown was so special, and I don't know how they made it literally look like she was on fire when she was on stage, but when I was there in that venue, it was like the experience of watching the Hunger Games live, where the dress is on fire. That's what it really looked like. And so I don't even feel like the execution of the skirt was done in a way that could match Catriona's lava gown. Now you might be thinking, well, they're two different gowns, and yes, but the fabric of Catriona's evening gown was so iconic, you can't help but think of it, and there's going to be that natural comparison, kind of like, in my opinion, Zuleika Rivera's Miss Universe gown, that chain evening gown. We've seen it done again and again and again and again and again, and nothing quite compares to the original. I am obsessed with Colombia's look. Oh my gosh, it was a lot, but you can do that here. I even like the little headpiece on her bun. I loved all of it. It was so much, but it was also just enough. It was done in the right way. Guatemala had a really unique shade of pink here, and I was very surprised to see pink as that color that ended up being quite popular, like the unexpected color. Like a few years ago, I saw a lot of purple gowns, and this year we've seen a lot of pink, but it was really beautiful. I love the structure on her arms, and she's just one of my favorites regardless. I love her. She just seems so sweet. I don't know how Indonesia was missed in my notes. That happens sometimes, but I've loved her throughout this entire competition. I think she's really consistent. She ended up going with pink again for a gown, similar to the shade that she was wearing in the interview competition. This did look really beautiful on her, and I thought that she brought a very confident performance. I felt like Puerto Rico's gown was very safe for grand, and when she was walking in this one, I was really hoping that somewhere she would do a spin turn in that gown, because especially if you're going to wear something safe, give me something else with the dress, and I feel like the skirt of this dress would have been great for a spin turn. But she was so beautiful. When they hit her with that close-up shot, she looked amazing, so I hope that she's advancing. Thailand looked so beautiful in this gown, and this was such a unique style. The shoulders and the cascading beading, it just looked so delicate, so delicate and unique. I loved it. She was really showing up for gown. US Virgin Islands, this gown, the black and the gold, I think was so unique. I love the piece on the shoulders and that it was actually connected and kind of almost made to look like it's woven into the dress. And then it was backless, but then we had this really cool bustle, you could say, on her butt, and then it was a train behind. It was such a cool evening gown, and she has such a great walk and performance. I'm obsessed with this. I need her to move on. I'm so curious if she's going to be bringing something else for finals, but I loved this. Dominican Republic, I love everything about this. I love the back of the gown, that she started facing the back to really showcase that. I love the side hip cutouts. I also really love that when she got to the end of the runway, her hand movements, they just actually reminded me of an extension of all the details that were going on around her in this gown. Obsessed. Top performance. France was fun, very grand. I love the hooded piece for this. I also love that she reminded me of what I would imagine people would wear in early civilization, like breastplates that were encrusted with jewels of their places that they plundered. It just kind of reminded me of that, I guess, like early civilization, but so many beautiful details, incredibly unique. I loved it. I had a feeling United Kingdom was going to bring something unique, and she did not disappoint. This gown, it reminds me of the Oscar de la Renta stained glass gowns, which are incredible. And I don't know if that was the inspiration, but I really love it. And then she also had the gloves, the sheer black gloves were fabulous. She was just so unique and brought something I would not have even thought about or expected. And she had a great performance as well, so I love her. Spain looks stunning in this evening gown, and I actually really liked the overskirt part of this. I wish that she would have kept it longer and done a reveal at the end of the runway. I just thought that it really added and it made the gown itself very unique, but I get it. She wanted to leave it behind and drop it and not have to carry it, but she still had a great performance here. India, I'm obsessed with. I love pink evening gowns too. Miss Universe India this year won in pink as well. So I love this specific shade on her. I also really like that she had the headpiece with the chiffon. She looks stunning. I have been saying this for so long, and I talked about it, I believe, before Harnaz won, where I'm a really big fan of when we take traditional Indian garments and then we modernize them a little bit for the pageant stage. I love that. We also saw that happen as well several years ago. Thailand did a gown that was very Thai inspired. I can't remember what year, 2015, 2016. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Black evening gown, loved that. So I loved this. Her performance was there. She was really, really shining. I'm just such a fan. Venezuela, I am obsessed with. This is top 5, if not maybe the best performance of the night for me. This gown was so 90s Mugler. I don't know if that's where she got this inspiration from, but it was, oh my gosh, just her in this gown, the side neck piece, the simplicity of it, the corseted waist, her height, the makeup, the hair, all of it. The performance was so grand. This was amazing. This makes me as happy as a couple years ago when Colombia wore the hat to gown, and I loved that. Personally, I love to see Curaçao in whites and metallics. It just does so much for her. I was not a really big fan of the red. Now, she was stunning, and I feel like she looked so gorgeous when you saw her in the close-up. The performance was there, but I'm really still hoping for a different gown for finals. Those are my gown standouts. Let me know which ones were your favorite, and remember to be kind to one another in the comments. I'll see you soon.